Hi, today I want to talk about a question that I got by email from a supporter in Russia and about the answer that I wrote to him. The question goes as this. May I ask a question? In one of your recent videos, you said that zazen is truly good for nothing and that nothing has substantially changed for you since your teenagers or the like. Why doing zazen then? Just because there's nothing else to do? But certainly there are more entertaining things to do. Since I started studying Zen about 10 years ago, my entire life has changed dramatically. Zen hasn't given me anything, but it has taken away a lot of junk that I didn't and don't want in my life. So I do not have a feeling that the Zen, and Zen in general, is good for nothing. If the Zen is good for nothing, would you repeat your life if you had a chance to do so? Or would you spend it on something else? That's a good question, a really good question, and I think I've been talking about it repeatedly in the past, but because it's a really fundamental point, I want to get back to it. So it's true that Sawaki Roshi famously said zazen is good for nothing. But also there's a second sentence that follows that, and that goes something like, if you do not practice zazen with this attitude, then it will be really good for nothing. So in a way he's saying only if you don't practice zazen with the attitude that it's good for nothing, it's gonna really be good for nothing. Or the other way around, if you practice zazen with the attitude that it's not good for anything, then it will somehow still be good for something. So how can we explain that? What does Sawaki Roshi really mean? Or who cares about Sawaki Roshi? How about myself? Would I say that zazen is good for anything, or that it's just a waste of time? What I tried to say in the other video, that's the 15th part of the My Teacher's House series that I uploaded about a week ago. What I said then I was talking about how it feels to be 50 years old. And what I try to say is that when I do zazen, I don't feel 50 years old. I don't feel any younger or older either. Actually, for me, zazen feels the same now than how it felt 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Which is not the same as that my life didn't change. So I'll get to my answer. I think I would repeat most things in my life if I had the choice to live my life again. I would probably do most things in my life the way I did them, including the zazen, definitely. What I said recently on YouTube was, when I do zazen now, I do not notice a difference to the zazen I did at age 33 or at 16. What I meant was that at the exact time of zazen, when I'm actually sitting on the cushion, I'm just here in the present moment. And it was the same, as far as I can remember, 20 or 30 years ago. Of course, rather than saying that it was the same, I should say no comparison is possible. Because there's only the here and the now. there's no yesterday and no tomorrow, which I could line up with the now and compare them. I cannot compare yesterday's zazen with the zazen that I practice when I'm actually sitting there. Yes, I think that most people's lives will change a lot when they realize that their real home is in the here and now, and that they have never left it in the first place. But even though your life might change, here and now doesn't change. It is often said that zazen is good for nothing, or zazen does not get you anywhere. But zazen brings you back to the here and now. There is no progress there. The progress only appears when you connect the imaginary dots of your life. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with connecting the dots. But it is important not to forget that even this connecting the dots or making progress in life only happens in the unchanging here and now. Or basically what I've been calling quitting the game and participating in the game. In the game, there is change, and zazen also can function as a game changer. Zazen changes the game, it changes your attitudes towards the game, and your attitudes towards the game will also change the game itself. But it does that through showing you a way of, well, taking a break from the game, and by showing you, hey, this is actually only a game. While connecting the dots is something that you do inside the game. And when I'm talking here, when I'm using words in a meaningful way, I'm also already connecting dots. And there's nothing wrong with that. I need to do that to connect to you. I cannot do that outside of the game. So there's nothing wrong with that, but it's important to rather focus on the effectiveness of zazen in the game, on the, well, non-effectiveness. That's why it's so important that zazen is good for nothing. But of course, Sawaki is right. If we don't realize that, it's really good for nothing. So you could also say, and I said that in one of the past videos, you could also say zazen is the only thing that's good for anything. Zazen is the only thing that's actually worth doing. So I don't do zazen because there wouldn't be more entertaining things to do, but it's actually the best thing. It's the best way you can spend your time. It's not the only thing I do. And actually, compared to 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was almost addicted to daily zazen practice, I'm now spending more time in the game. I'm beginning to appreciate the game more than I did 20 or 30 years ago. But still, I wouldn't want to miss these opportunities to just take a break from the game. Okay, I will paste the whole text, the question and my answer below if you want to check with what I wrote. Yeah, I'm really happy that I could finish this video in under 10 minutes. I'll try to improve my YouTube skills and make more of these videos in under 10 minutes. Thank you for your attention, and until next time, see you.